In this video, we're going to talk about what Black male traditionalism is and how it shapes an understanding of how we see ourselves as Black people. So, what is Black traditionalism? Black traditionalism is a school of thought that emphasizes an adherence to the conventional ideas of Blackness, whether in representation or expression, that govern the social and cultural identity of Black people and how they ought to behave. Generally speaking, these cultural conventional ideas center around the validation of a strong Black male archetype and Black male sexuality at the expense of other people within the community. You come to recognize what Black traditionalism is, and you understand what it is by understanding what it is not. So you'll hear, Black men say things like, well, that's not real, or Black people don't do that, or you're acting white. There's this degree of othering that kind of happens to Black people whose lived experience falls outside the realm of cultural intelligibility. What Black traditionalism fails to recognize is that Blackness is not a monolith and that Blackness does intersect with other aspects of society. Mukimnic philosophy and other contrarian schools of thought are seen as a dissipation of the fundamental aspects of Black identity as opposed to a amplification of cultural pluralism surrounding the multiplicities and intricacies of Black experience, thus creating tension. And consequently, traditionalists are opposed to contrarian belief systems due to the idea that participation in the larger elements of society and the larger aspects of society outside the realm of cultural intelligibility will lead to a Eurocentric imposition of their power. Within the conventions of Black traditionalism, our lived experience as Mukimne constitutes a degree of otherworldliness existing in the realm of the imaginary. However, gender nuanced people, we fundamentally recognize that the integration of the gender nuanced components to our lived experience, that is the juxtaposition of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, are ultimately what give our life meaning, that they're integral components of how we understand ourselves as people. And we understand that the union of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, these masculine and feminine qualities are what ultimately make us whole beings. And due to our experiences of being born Black people in gender nuanced bodies, it creates a shared conscious experience of being Mukimne under or rather within the context of Black male traditionalism. It's also very hard for a lot of Black people to depart from Black traditionalism because it is so culturally ingrained within the people. And a lot of Black men, particularly, are culturally identified with some of the aspects of what it means to be Black, that they derive their understanding of themselves from these conventional ideas that govern their Blackness. And as it pertains to gender nuanced experiences, you find that the cultural law is duplicitous at times, and there is a dissemblance between the various factions of Black male consciousness, between gender nuanced men who do utilize gender nuanced components and gender nuanced performance, and gender nuanced people who are then kept at the bottom or seen as othered within the community for doing the exact same thing. So you'll ultimately see that sometimes there are cisgendered men that will create skits and wear dresses and wigs and things like that. But when we do it as Mukimne and gender nuanced people, because of the way that we understand ourselves, it's sometimes demonized by the culture as not being real enough or being, you know, not authentically black or whatever. And so, therefore, our experiences are oftentimes negated within the collective, and we are seen as the untouchables. So that's why, as I stated before, one of the ways to then begin to challenge the conventional ideas of Black traditionalism is, for one, Mukimne need to divest from the collective and understand ourselves and our Blackness from our own personal experience. And hopefully that will begin to change the narrative around how the collective understands the diverse categories of people that live within the community.